Yo, what's going on? It's your boy Drin. You know how it does. Excuse me, you know how it do. Wow. What a fupa. Um, just as always, we're gonna give it a sec. Let everybody jump on. It's Drin Talk Tuesday. As I set up my little stream so that way I can see you guys all.
What we got going on here?
I apologize for me. I got here a little late, and of course, my food got here a little late, so I might be snacking during this talk because your boy's starving. It was a long day. I'll try to do it off the screen.
Yeah, keep dipping out the screen, take a bite.
Every now and then.
The only thing is, if we was on Oprah, she would have bought food for everybody. So we gotta change things up.
Oprah also has Oprah budget. You know what I mean?
You get a meal. You get a meal. You get a meal.
All right, I just wanted to see if it loaded up on Facebook too. So we live and direct on YouTube and Facebook.
Nice.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Today's guest is a brother of mine, friend of mine. I've known this guy for years now.
Probably my whole life. I'm like 31 now. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about 31 years.
A good portion of his whole life. So without further ado, I call him Five. His name is Chris St. Fleur. Introduce yourself to the people.
Chris St. Fleur. If you call me Five, then I know you know me from I was young. I got that nickname. But most people know me as Chris. Like Drin said, we've known each other more or less our whole life, from church, everything up like that. So decided to come on Drin Talks, have him chop it up with my mans over here.
Yep. Jessica says, "Hey, family."
Hey.
She on the chat right now. She's the Facebook user. I know it doesn't tell you.
I say that we here just said Facebook user. I wish I knew who.
Yeah, I literally have to go onto Facebook to look to see who it is. For some reason, it only says Facebook user. One, two.
Sup, Jess?
Oh. Huh.
Speaking of Jess, we actually got some stuff coming up in a couple of months. She be throwing pop-up shops and things like that. And my wife makes candles, so we definitely gonna pop-up shop. She's gonna be selling some candles, body candles and things like that. So
okay. So I just seen sorry to interrupt. I just seen something on why we can't see the Facebook users. I have to send them a link. So I'm gonna send them that link. Hopefully they'll be able to click into it. Let's see. So that's
why we was having that conversation with Nels and I was writing. He didn't know who was talking.
I didn't know who was talking.
Well, I mean, you knew who was talking off of what I said.
Well,
when y'all was talking Peyton Manning, y'all talking Eli Manning. I was like, who? Peyton.
But that was on YouTube, though.
I was on YouTube.
Yeah, on YouTube, I can tell who's talking.
Oh, okay.
Unless you change your name. You know how, like, in YouTube, you have, like, a username. Like, my YouTube name is Drin.
Mine's just CJ. Literally just CJ, not the word CJ.
So that, the thing is, Dina has a cousin named CJ. So that's what I got confused. But either or. All right, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
So I got you here. pretty much like we do on pretty much every Drin Talk, unless especially first time guests. We go over your journey through manhood, right? This is a group that I created for men, to embrace each other, to talk with one another and whatnot. So I normally ask, what is, excuse me, what is your definition of manhood, and what was your if it has changed throughout the years, what was it then, and what is it now?
Okay. That's a good question. So, manhood. Well, it definitely had to have changed. When I was a child, I thought as a child. I thought like a, you know what I mean? Thought like a child. So I definitely didn't know what manhood was. I had a perception of it based around my peers who also weren't men at the time. So it's like I'm basing my idea of manhood around other boys and what we're doing. So trying to be the biggest boy, more or less, was like an idea of manhood. So whatever we was doing as boys, chasing girls, trying to get numbers, going to parties and just being hot, you know what I mean? Someone steps on your sneakers, you wanna, nah, I can't let it slide. Situations like that, and just being around your group, which, you know what I mean, you quickly learn in your 20s that is definitely not the path to go. You know what I mean? One, chasing the girls is expensive. Two, fighting and doing all that stuff and trying to be macho and all that stuff, it literally just puts a negative view on you to everybody else. You're thinking that you look positive, but everybody's looking at you like, yeah, you can't be around him, can't deal with that. I don't need that type of energy around me. So you start realizing the type of people you want to be around, things like that, which kind of changed my idea of manhood. So just to me, being a man is just having accountability. You know what I mean? Just being, you have an idea of right or wrong. You're able to be accountable for yourself and things like that. You have to be willing to take responsibilities for the decisions you make, decisions you used to make, and decisions that you're going to make. So you got to be able to keep your word. You got to be able to be dependable and things like that. I feel like, to me, that's what makes a man. Being able. So I know I can call on you. You'll be there for me. You do that, and I could look at you and be like, you know what? That's a man to me, because he's gonna keep his word. He can supply. He could do what he got to do, and that's just like kind of what my difference is. A gist of it, more or less. And it was kind of it's kind of weird that when I was younger, I kind of based it off my peers what being a man was, because in the end of the day, I had prime example at home. You know what I mean? So a lot of people don't have that example, but I had a prime example of what being a man was at home. But I was like too busy. Just I want to have fun. I want to be out with my friends. I want to do all that stuff. Whatever he's talking about, he don't know what he's talking about. He's just old. I'm talking about my tat.
Yep.
So a lot of people, you know what I mean, grew up in like a disfranchised home. Like they don't really necessarily would have a father at home. They might know their father, they might see their father, stuff like that, but they don't necessarily live 24/7 with their father like I have. And majority of my friends, I would say I'm one of the few that actually had my mother and my father in the home. So having my father there to kind of guide me in the ways, like when I got older, started realizing, you know what, like even though I don't even have the same friends I used to have altogether. A lot of my friends, I still have my day ones, but a lot of friends I used to have back in high school, I don't really necessarily hang out with them. And it wasn't until I was older, kind of sitting down with my pops and everything like that, I kind of learned like I wasn't necessarily wrong off the track growing up, but necessarily, you know what I mean? There's a time and place for everything. Like, you know me, when I was young, I used to be so hot.
Yep.
So hot, so quick, short-tempered. It was bad. It's bad. And it literally took me getting older, having conversation with my pops and everything like that. Is like there's a way to kind of react to everything.
I also think that's the environment of, not necessarily an environment, but like you said, your idea of manhood was with your peers around you. So everybody else is trying to figure it. And not to say nothing about the peers around you. Like you said, you didn't know too many people who had both their mother and father there. So a lot of them were living without their father, making manhood making the idea of manhood to themselves.
Making the idea of manhood to ourselves. That's essence. And me having a father at home, I'm still following, you know what I mean? I'm young, following the peers and stuff like that. Not understanding, like, wait a minute. I'm actually the one that has someone to actually, I'm the one with the source of the information, kind of, sort of.
I think for us as growing up, we have that source, that information, but like a lot of us don't want to use it.
They don't know what they talk about. They, you know what I mean? Like they try. Not to say they don't try. They definitely out here telling us, yo, you know what I mean? A few years, you gonna learn. We said, like, you know what? We'll learn in a few years. We agree with that shit. Like, man, I'll learn in a few years. Let me learn in a few years. But right now, let me enjoy it.
We wasn't trying to hear it. No, what's so good? No, I'll give the story of, well, not the story, but like I appreciate, like you said, you had your dad at home. I appreciate your father a lot. I consider him a father to me. One of my many fathers. But one of the, real important ones, like I have a couple where, my godfather, my own personal father, and then your father also, there was a while, in my adolescence where I was at your house all the time. We was there all the time. And your dad, without hesitation took me in as one of his own. You know what I mean? If we were short or needed food, like he's like, yo, here. Everybody got something, so we can all go eat. Yeah. Teaching me the game. And, if I always knew if there was something that I needed, or there was something, like if I was being messed with or whatever, your dad would come, like there was no hesitation. Like he was one of his kids. So I always say I appreciate your dad for that. That's my pops.
Yeah, definitely. And that's like, not to say anything, like not to take away from, you know what I mean? Definitely, he looked at you as a son, but my father in his essence was like, he's like a father to all. Like he literally just, he doesn't judge anybody. He understands, like we all came from some, you know what I mean? He grew up in Haiti. Like, you understand, like we all come from somewhere. We all gonna make bad decisions. We all make good decisions. So he was never the type to, like, you do something wrong, like he'd be on you, like yelling at you, stuff like that. Like, trust me, when I was younger, we got our whooping. But he was more in the essence of letting you understand what you're doing and how it's going to affect you in the future. Not just tell you what you're doing is bad, but explain to you, like, all right, if you continue doing this,
if you go this way,
when you go this route, when you 20 something years old, you're gonna continue doing this route. This is how it's gonna end up for you. This is definitely how it's gonna end up for you. So he was always that pop, and anybody that knows my pops know he's cool, he's funny. He can take you through anything, bro. You down, you feeling down, you sad, come talk to him, and he'll have you laughing for 30 minutes straight. You forgot why you're upset.
The jokes that this guy had,
and I have, bro. I still deal with it.
Bro, son. I remember we came through to the house, and we came, with our girlfriends at the time, whatever. And he on the couch in his drawers, and he's like, "Oh, you got the girls with me? I don't want them to see what y'all don't have. You're supposed to call me first." Like, yo, bro, come on, stop.
He goes, "Oh, there it goes. Now you just lost one." That's what Joe said. You just lost one.
Yo. I'll never forget the day when he called your brother a scum, and the only reason he ain't here because he ain't wear his scum bag. I lost it, son. I lost it. I was like, yo, this guy is crazy. This guy is crazy.
Full jokes, 100%. He's always on joke mode. Like, whenever we sitting there, especially if we having any type of formal type of dinner, you invited the wrong man to a formal type of dinner.
He gonna get his.
Yeah, he's gonna get his.
He's gonna get his, and he's gonna take care of you if there's no liquor. You're like,
no liquor. Hold on, let me hit the car real quick. We're gonna have a good time. We about to get some laughs in. We're gonna do all that.
The first person to ever teach me, like, yo, you gotta have a little car stash in the trunk.
Yo, bro, you never know where you're gonna show up, and they're gonna hit you with, "This is a dry event." Oh, not for me. Oh, not for me. Yo, you guys are okay. Not for me. But
I appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely a man to I always look up to. I just in the end of the, you know what I mean, when I pass or whatnot, I just hope to be somewhat a percentage of what this man was. Like life of a party, he can enter any room and change it. Man, I feel like, you know what I mean. God forbid the day he ever passes away. Hopefully, never, no time soon, never soon. But I feel like he's gonna have a funeral like a celebrity. Like there's gonna be hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people that show up just to show their condolences. Because I feel like anybody he talks to, he touches.
Yep.
Anybody he talks to, he touches. And I envy that. That's what I want for me. You know what I mean? I'm not in the sense of like envy, but that's what I aspire for. I want to be a percentage of that. I want to touch people as I get older and stuff like that. And it was kind of hard because I feel like I was always introverted growing up.
You think so? Yeah,
yeah. I feel like compared to you, my brother, and all that stuff.
Oh, stop it!
I'm introverted.
I was in that introverted.
Yeah, Mixie Drin. Okay.
Nah, man.
They make a drink out of you just so Mixie. But besides that, no, I just feel like I was always introverted growing up. So I kind of just started stepping out of that space a couple years ago, and my goal is to just be that type of person. Like I want to grow up to be my dad. It's kind of weird. I would have never said that 10 years ago.
I mean, but that's how it's supposed to be. You know,
never said that.
Especially if it was a great example, then that's what you're supposed to grow up and want to be your dad. You know, that's something I aspire. I would hope, as Charlie gets older, he says, I want to grow up to be my dad. I want to grow up to be a man like my father. That's the goal, right? We're not in this just to be ourselves and that's it. Like we're in this to leave a legacy. We're in this to, touch others. Like you said, we're in this to model what it is to be a man.
And leave a mark. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Leave some type of mark out there.
I think where a lot of men get in trouble or a lot of men, lose out is when you don't necessarily know your calling.
So I feel like when you don't know your calling, so you don't know your purpose. You're looking for your purpose. You're searching for your purpose, right? I feel like even though you're man and stuff, that's like a stage of man. You're not I feel like unless you know your purpose, you're manifesting, you're working towards that every day. It's hard to consider yourself like a full man. You might be a young man. You're figuring it out. But as far you're providing for yourself, you're not a boy because you're able to provide for yourself. You got a job, you're working, you're making money. But unless you can you figure out what is your ideal purpose, like what is it that your goal is, like what is it that you're put on this society to do? What are you bringing to the table to the world? So you can kind of figure that out and kind of work towards it. It's kind of hard to say, yeah, I'm a man. It's like, yeah, man, but okay, yeah, a man by nature, but are you literally, what are you doing that says you're a man?
So with that being said, what do you believe your purpose is in this life? Or are you still searching?
I found my calling. I don't know necessarily, I can't say I know what my purpose is yet. I'm still growing. I'm still living that age. So I would say I know what my calling is. I just don't know what I think very logically. I program. I'm a great programmer. It's something I picked up. Not picked up, but I picked up while I was in college, and it just everything seemed to click with me. It when you do something and it's like you never prep for it, but it was just like it's naturally for you. Like someone picking up a basketball and it just nice at basketball. They didn't necessarily have the practice. There's you have the talent and you can gain the skills. So it's like I would say I have a talent for programming. So it's hard for me to say that's not my calling. Like I love doing it. I have a talent for it. I'm very good at web programming, software programming, all that stuff. But I'm still trying to figure out how to use that. What is my purpose of having this talent?
Gotcha.
I know my talent. I know my skills. I know what I can bring to the table, and I'm providing what I can bring to the table to society. but I just personally don't know what I can. Is that my purpose? Just to do that? I don't want that to be my purpose. You get what I'm saying? It could very well be my purpose, but I don't want that to be my purpose.
Why don't
I want
you want it to be
I want
your
to do
purpose?
more. I want to do more than that. I want, like I said, I want to touch people. I want to talk, and I don't feel like I could do that behind a computer screen. Behind a computer screen.
What if it is, just to teach that, right? You're still doing what your calling is when you're teaching that, or you're helping other people. Like we had the chat when we were to this episode, and what we were going to discuss, like, yo, I can help you with this. I can, I might have to get in the lab and me and you do something and we grow this channel. So that could have been your purpose, to help other people. You also, I see the shirt you're wearing, you help them,
So speaking of that, like I have my own thing, like, I mean, we could go through this later. I have my own company that I'm doing things with, and I have like my own company, software programming company that I started and kind of running myself. I also have, I can't say myself, I do have a partner, but I'm very good at helping, seeing when someone's doing something, and say something like, oh, this is what I want to do. I like this. I'm doing this, doing that stuff. I'm very good at eyeing out, okay, this is what you want to do. All right, this is like kind of what other people in your industry are, how they're doing it, what they're doing and things like that. I have a good eye for that. So it's like, all right, this is what you want to do. I know how to take you to that next level. Whatever you're doing, I know how to take you to that next level. It might not even be what I do as a life. I might not be a videographer. I might not be a production person, but I do so much research. I do so much stuff like that, to the point is, all right, this is what you want to do. I can kind of technically see what you want to do, what's necessary. I go see what other people that's doing what they're doing, do the research behind that, and kind of say, all right, you want to take it up a notch? I can take you up a notch. And I've done that for the past 2-3 companies I worked with. Kind of disappeared, bro. But yeah, okay. So now it's my show. You know what I mean? Ben's gone. Pretty sure he'll be back. But welcome to Chris Talks. Waiting for my guest, Drin, I'm guessing.
Could you not hear me that whole time?
I could not hear you. You just completely disappeared. I couldn't hear anything.
God, okay. I thought I was just, kind of pushing you up front.
Oh, yeah, you disappeared on me. You disappeared on me. I was like, fuck, I was gonna take over the show. Like, I bet.
Because I'm sitting here talking to you, so I'm like, no, I hear you. Keep going. All right, so I just learned something new with that. Oh, maybe what I wanted to do is this. Gotcha.
Just turn off the video.
Yeah.
Okay. You trying to get your snack on?
I was. I'm not gonna hold you. I was. I definitely damn sure was. But
yeah, I forgot what was the last thing you kind of heard and was jumping. I know you said you was chiming in, you was talking, but what was you saying?
I don't even remember because now I had to figure out the thing. But just going to the chat, Max says, "What up, Chris?"
What's up, Max?
And then the shaking my head is him also, but whatever. Just quickly for everybody that is watching, out on YouTube, out on Facebook, just don't forget to like. If you're not subscribed, definitely subscribe. Share the video. Helps. It goes a long way.
Donate.
I mean, yeah.
What's your Cash App? Let them know the Cash App. They can donate.
I didn't start that Cash App stuff yet.
Nah, you're not on Cash App, OnlyFans. You're not on none of that. Not on none of that.
I'm about to get an OnlyFans. Watch.
Right. But yeah, definitely like, subscribe, everything. I mean, I'm digging the whole idea of this channel, bro. I'm telling you. Like we was talking before, like I know I could definitely, I have an eye of seeing how to get things better, bro. So we're gonna definitely chop this up. We're gonna definitely we're gonna set this up, bro. We're gonna make you Oprah soon. I see Oprah in you.
Hopefully, we'll see.
Oprah.
I don't mind the spotlight, but you know, I kind of stay away from it too.
Oprah.
So
You don't like the spotlight. Man, I remember when we used to go into the clubs when we was younger. Used to want to be in the middle of the dance floor, bro.
no, I did
Everybody
not
there.
want to be in the middle of the dance floor. That's not
Also,
what I
everybody
was.
just gravitated to watch Drin.
I was doing my own thing. I cannot
Yeah.
help if
Oh, okay.
people turn around and look.
Okay. Ah,
Right?
d'accord. I get it.
It was not a want.
I
Right?
get it.
But yeah, it's got crazy. Trying to get me in trouble out here in these streets. Hey, listen.
I'm talking 20 years ago.
So basically, something interesting that you said, right, with your whole finding your purpose and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I think that just for men in general, like to find that purpose, to find that idea of what, like, you know, we always want. And is the stream not going through? Oh, I'm sorry, it was freezing. Okay, I think that it takes a lot of soul searching, and as you've gotten older, like you said, when you were younger, you were a hothead, and then you know you got older, you start to calm down. How has that affected, or how's that shaped how you viewed and how you looked for your purpose?
Well, I go at everything out of way more. You want to be the spotlight. I go at everything
That's just crazy.
way more leveled. I go at everything at a way more leveled head. You know what I mean? Before I used to be hot and things like that, talking this stuff like that. I kind of learned my what's that thing that people say, like, that go-to, you know what I mean? Like, I forgot what they say when you go to like some type of therapy. Like, you got to find that thing that kind of calms you down. When you go like the anger management and things like that. So I kind of found that outlet to kind of let me not be so hot, I should say. So I go at things a lot more level-headed. So as I go up and I think about things and I go over it, I really think about it. Like I ponder. I don't make decisions right away. I need at least 48 hours to decide. Because I'm going to play every single scenario through my head. How can this turn out? How this is going to go? How this is, you know what I mean? Things like that. So that in itself helped me decide, like, on what my purpose is. Do I see myself, when I'm like thinking about do I see myself doing this in 10, 15 years? If it's no, it can't be your purpose. Because the purpose is more or less you're going to be doing it for the rest of your life. You're going to be going at it. You're going to be hunting that for like more or less for the rest of your life. Because that's what your purpose is. So if you can't see yourself doing it in the next 10, 15 years, then you got to keep looking, keep searching, like you said, it's soul searching. You got to look inside. Like, what is it that you can do? Do you like it? Do you do that? What is it? What are your skills? You got to be honest with yourself. You can't do everything. A lot of people like to lie. Oh yeah, I'm good at that. You're not. You're not. You know what I mean? What is it that you're really good at?
Or you could be good at everything, but you're a master of none. You know, the jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah. Which has its ups and downs too. You know what I mean? Has its ups and downs.
So the way I viewed it, right, and just for me in general, like even with this platform that I'm doing, and you know, I'm on it, which is very daunting in itself. But I, in essence, kind of always saw myself, I guess, on the TV, in essence, right?
On TV.
On TV, right? You know, kid, you want to be an actor, you want to play all that stuff. So I kind of saw myself on a TV or on a platform, I guess. But then as I got older, and especially when I was in college, I had took a public speaking class. Now, I took the public speaking class because at that point in time in school, I was trying to be a lawyer. But as I'm taking the class, like I can see myself being, you know, a public speaker somewhere. I didn't know of what or of how, whatever. And then, you know, other classes I was in that I had, like speaking engagements. it was the same thing. Like me, I always thought I was trash at it, right? And then everybody else would be like, no, that was amazing. Like I didn't know you were nervous. I didn't know you got it. But to me, the whole time I'm panicking on it. So I figured like, maybe this talking thing has something to it, because I have conversations with everybody. I believe people have, I have a calming effect on people, or people just seem to like to tell me stuff. I don't know what it is, but people seem to like
have a very trusting personality. You know what I mean?
So, that's when, especially during this pandemic where I was unemployed, on unemployment, there was nothing for me to do. And I realized like, I watch a lot of YouTube, right? I'm big on watching YouTube. And I'm watching these people do this and listening to people's podcasts and so I'm like, I can do this. And I remember a couple of years ago, maybe right before I left for basic training, this is probably 2018, I want to say in like March, April, May-ish, one of those months, right? I got the idea for a podcast. And this is before like podcasts really became this big thing that it is now. But I didn't want to do
the pandemic. We should do the pandemic.
Yeah. But I didn't want to do it. I just wanted to be behind the scenes of it, right? And I actually hit up your brother because my idea for the podcast was because I thought it, people just had to be interesting and funny, Cool. Now realizing there's a niche for everybody.
Yeah, it's a niche for everything. Yeah.
And I know your brother can talk about nothing, right? And make it a great time.
He's cut from the same cloth as my father.
So
definitely.
I actually hit him up and I was like, yo, what do you think about a podcast between you and then Banks? Because both of them, it would be insane.
What would you call it? Toxic? What was the name? That because they would be butting heads, they'd be clashing the whole time, bro. It would be funny because of how much they would clash.
And because they have that rapport with each other anyway.
Yeah. They have no problem clashing. They love clashing. That's their rapport. That's what they love to do.
I thought about it then, and then I think your brother might have replied like, "Why don't you just do it?" And I'm like, "Nah, I don't want to be in front." But here I am, 3 years later, I'm in front.
Yeah.
Because it just becomes something that, what? Like I said, I made this thing because I was looking for something that I couldn't find. And then this is something that I kind of wanted to do anyway. So why not? I'm watching all these other people do it. Why not build my own stuff?
It's kind of full circle. It's kind of full circle. Like you say, there's something you want to do from the beginning. See, I'm kind of the opposite. So I don't know if everybody has to take public speaking class in college, but I took it too. And I was pretty, I felt I was pretty bad. Because like I said, I felt like I grew up introverted. So talking in public speaking was one of the hardest classes I had. And I went to school for programming. I had to do the calculus, the all those stuff. I originally went to school for bio, so I did biology, I did chemistry, I did all those things. The reason I switched is neither here nor there, but that public speaking class was so hard for me. I feel like I could not talk in front of a big group. I could talk in front of one person, I could talk in front of 5 people, I could talk in front of 10 people. You give me more than 10 people, I don't know, the whole dynamic changes for me. It's kind of weird. So that's kind of what led me towards kind of wanting to be more out there. I actually gonna later on, not probably in the next 2 months or so, probably into June, like around June, we and another one of my friends, actually my business partner, we're actually gonna be creating a couple content similar around our business, but more towards wealth and finance and things like that. Because another thing that we actually very passionate about. So we actually gonna be making some content around that, and I personally want to do it just to get out of that bubble of feeling like I can't.
Yeah.
Like I'm not
challenging yourself.
Challenging myself. Like I don't feel comfortable talking. I don't feel comfortable talking a lot. So in order to get out of that, talk a lot. force myself to talk a lot. Give myself no option. That's why you gave me this opportunity. Hey, jump on the show. Yeah, I'm gonna jump on every show I can. I'm gonna talk about it because I just want to get into that habit of being able to talk. I want to get into a room of 50, 40 people and still feel the same way as if I'm talking to 5 people. But I'm not there yet. Definitely not there yet.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah. So it's like you're doing it because you feel passionate. It's what you always wanted to do. I'm doing it because I feel like I'm lacking in it.
Well, I also felt like something was lacking, so that's why I did it also. Excuse me, I had a whole blank just now. Okay, so just I guess pivoting off, I did have a question for you.
Okay.
That I thought about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just pivoting back towards the whole man part of this thing. How hard do you think it is to be a man today?
How hard is it to be a man today?
Yeah, or how easy, if you think it's easy to be a man.
I feel like the original question is appropriate. How hard is it to be a man today? I personally feel like it's very hard because a lot of things are against being a man today. It's like if you portray being a man, then it's like you have so much negative connotation from so many different groups on the world. There's a whole sexual orientation war. There's a whole gender war going on. Things like that. But the root prime, the one who's against everybody, is just, it seems like man versus everyone.
Mm.
So being a man, it's like, all right, I'm a man, this and that. I don't like this. It's hard for you to even say, as a man, I don't like this. And it's like, oh, why are you saying that? You're either you hate women or you're transphobic, you're homophobic. You're something phobic for any concept or idea that you hold true to yourself as a man. You end up on some type of phobic line.
So
which makes it so hard to be a man.
So in essence, what you're saying is like it's kind of hard right nowadays as a man to live in, I guess, your quote unquote truth, right?
Yeah.
So as a man, if you can't live in your truth, how are you necessarily a man then?
But that's what makes it hard. So you're gonna either A, not live in your truth, which makes it hard for you to be a man, or you're gonna live in your truth, which is you got to be able to stand that blunt of it all. You got to be solid on your ground. Know that you're gonna get these waves of everything coming. You just got to stay in your ground as a man. So I feel like it makes it kind of hard because before it's like I'm a man. I'm portraying these man traits, these manhood traits. I'm doing what I got to do. I could be considered a man. But now it's like with everything going on in the world, you can be trying to do that and it end up canceled tomorrow.
Yep.
And you know what I'm saying? It's so much harder.
When I initially came on, right, because these are actually questions from, I believe, my first ever, during talk. And I think I initially said, like, because it's, you have, of course, cancel culture. And because, like, back in the day, there was strict defined roles.
Mm-hmm.
Gender roles, like, woman does this and does this. It was a lot easier then to be a man, whereas now there's no gender roles, right? Woman can do anything a man can do. Even back then, a woman can do anything a man could do. It's just was more socially unacceptable to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now, there's no roles. Like a woman can do anything a man can do. A man can do anything a woman can do besides, give birth or whatever. And the way science is going, who the knows at this point?
10 years, they'll be able to do that too. I feel you.
But I think that what makes it difficult now is because we don't have a defined role, and we're learning from people who had defined roles, and now we're in an age where people are discovering themselves. People are pushing the boundaries and stuff like that, where it's changing, right? It's a changing of the guard in essence, right? So
I feel like what's changing it? I feel like the people that are changing, pushing those goalposts, kind of changing these definitions, are people that have no right to change the definition. I feel like majority. Not even say right, but more or less. Okay, so you have this idea of manhood, but then I don't know if you're on Twitter and stuff like that. I like Twitter more because I get more in deep in what people are thinking more than just someone posting a picture in the caption. So
I've been trying to get back on Twitter because of this, kind of posting this
yeah.
thing, but I can't do it, man.
You
It's
get
too
a
much
lot
on
of you can
social
get a lot of
media.
it's like you get a lot of insight. Man. So yeah, Twitter's a lot. But so on Twitter you have this thing of very often you'll see women posting what a man is or what a man should do or what a man doesn't do.
Mm-hmm.
And vice versa. A man telling women what a woman is, what a woman should do. Really, I feel like who are you to say what a woman is, and what is a woman to say in essence
What a man
what a
is.
man is? It's like, oh, you're not a man because of this. Oh, a real man would do this.
Yo, growing up, that
You
used to
read that a
cause me
lot.
that was like a big issue for me. Because I remember, especially, and, me and my wife actually had a discussion about it or whatever. This and that third. Like, to me, sometimes, like, especially, when women would, or young girls would call you, like, you're not a man, and you, because you don't do this, you don't do that. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, how are you to tell me what manhood is?
But what manhood, and in essence, it's not even just them because men do it to women too.
Oh,
But
of course.
that's why I say it's like that's kind of what's changing the definition. After a while, enough women say this is what a man is, it starts getting picked up. All right, we kind of add that to the list of what this is what a man should and shouldn't do. All right, well, after a while, a few women say, all right, add that to the list. So now you have a point where, all right, this is what a man should be. And 6 of it was what was there originally. The other 30 were added by women.
So you don't think men add to that list?
Men definitely do add to that list. I'm not trying to say it's all women. I'm just trying to say people are adding to this list that doesn't necessarily need to add to the list on both sides. Men telling women that what they should be doing and how they should be doing it, what they should be wearing, how they should be dressing and stuff like that. It's kind of adding things to the list that we have no business adding to the list on how to be a woman, quote unquote.
Yeah. So a friend of mine put up a post recently. I actually meant to bring it up last week, but I forgot. But I'm gonna bring it up here because we're kind of in the same general topic, right? As a man, right, you are pretty much, you grow up learning like, oh, you're supposed to do this for a woman. You're supposed to open the door, get her flowers and stuff like that. So in essence, you learn how to treat a woman, right? Chivalry, right? Not to say that today's men do a lot of it anymore, but chivalrous, right?
Yeah.
And her question was, we always complain about men, how they treat us, but like, how many women know how to treat a man, or were you as a woman ever taught how to treat a man?
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot how I answered the question, but like, matter of fact, do I still have it up?
That's an interesting take on things because I feel like in essence that's half of the battle. So you know what I mean, in a relationship you have we're in a day and age where I feel where you know what I mean, women put themselves on a pedestal. Oh, I would say they put themselves. A lot of guys put them on a pedestal too, because guys is just thirsty out there. So you have a situation where where was I going with this? Guys are chasing they're chasing the women, which always kind of was the instinct. But we're in a day and thing where women have a lot of choices, they have a lot of decisions, they're picking and choosing. And guys are hyenas. You know what I mean? They're just going for the kill, whatever the kill can be. You have oh man, I'm sorry, I just drew a blank real quick. Shit was kind of weird.
It happens.
Yeah. You have run me back. What was your question again? Give me the original question again.
So pretty much, can a man or women taught how to treat a man?
Okay, so yeah, so you have in essence guys that have to treat women a certain way. They have to do things. You have to do this stuff. So they gravitate in. A man got to get a woman. They have to treat her right. They have to do stuff like that. But in essence, in the same reverse energy, the woman has to do certain things to keep that man. The man, they're gonna want that original drive. Like I said, they're animals. They're gonna want that little drive, but they're gonna end up bored fast, and they're gonna go for the next kill, then the next kill, then the next kill. So a women essentially, you want to be with that man, they have to keep that man. That's what they say. Oh, can you keep it? This women don't know how to keep men. That's what that same thing. You gotta. He's gonna come. If that's what you want, can you hold him? Can you hold him there? Can you keep him there? Can you keep him there that he doesn't want to go? He's happy. He's satisfied here. So in that sense, I feel like a lot of women lost that nature, that power to keep a man because they're at a point of their lives where if you're not benefiting, not doing, like you said, a woman can do everything a man can. So if you're not only benefiting me, if I feel like I have to bend over, then I don't want it. But if I'm getting 100% beneficial, then they're for it. They have that choice. If you're not benefiting me anymore, goodbye. There's a line of dudes waiting.
So now,
line of dudes waiting.
Just for pushback purposes. Yeah. This is how I originally answered the question, right? Mm-hmm. I said, interesting premise. I don't necessarily believe women are taught how to treat men, nor do I believe men are really taught how to treat women. But I think it's more of we as a people aren't taught how to really listen and pay attention to each other, hence why we always feel mistreated. Now, that's a good take. With what you said, right, I think that's also just the attitude of people. That's the attitude of men, that's the attitude of women, where at this point, like, we're bombarded with choices, right?
Too many choices.
So it's like the instant something happens that we dislike or don't like, whatever, we bail. Sorry, hold on. We bail, right? Because we have another choice, right? And I think people have it actually like lined up in essence where they're never really too much in to one thing without having something there. Having a backup. And I think it's a disadvantage for us because we don't necessarily learn, like I said, how to listen and respect each other and pay attention to, the other person because of that concept. And I think
I feel like that. I feel like in order to do that, it has to be a current conversation because we can't base things off of what it was 30 years ago. What women need and what men needed 30 years ago is different than what women and men need now. So it has to be a dialogue in today that really find out what is women looking for, what are men looking for, and kind of find out, find that middle basis of, okay, are you willing to provide that? Yes or no on both sides. But it's the idea of no one knows. Like you said, no one knows. We're guessing here. So, yeah, I feel like that's a very good take. We should definitely should be a discussion in today's thing. I feel like, and that should be a good discussion on Drink Talk. But you got to have some female co-hosts. You got to have both sides and kind of have that dialogue and find out what is today's woman looking for in a relationship. What are they looking for in life? What are they looking for in a relationship? Are they looking for relationships? That's the first question.
And how that plays out, right?
It's because we can't really base it off information from 30 years. We can't base it off our parents' information. They lived a completely different life. They didn't have social media. They had to go out and meet each other.
And you know what? I also think that's another thing that kind of messes us up because we don't. Again, it's just the extreme options, right? Like you said, your parents had to go out and find somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so that in essence limited you to your immediate surroundings. Whereas now, I got a guy that I know in the military. He was about to marry somebody from fucking Japan or some shit like that. Oh God. See, I give you a twofer with the cussing. I've been trying not to cuss, but it slipped. So, from like Japan at one point, and then another one was like from like South Africa.
Oh,
So
another one. So he was about to get married multiple times.
Oh yeah.
He was a hunger. He was just trying to get married.
He's a special case. Every time I go to base, I gotta check on him because he's very special.
It's a new person he's trying to marry.
He's a special guy. Like, I feel for the kid. Like, you know, I try to take him under my wing, but
hopefully they were one at a time, not like that dude in Japan that they took about.
Oh no.
It was 50 girlfriends, and he gave them all different birthdays.
Oh, he was wilding because I don't understand how you even remember 50 birthdays.
He gave them all different birthdays. Like, yo, my man's was.
Think about how many birthdays he had to remember. He had to remember the birthday that he gave them and their birthday.
And their birthdays.
So that's 50. That's already 50 different birthdays from them.
Plus the one that he gave
them. Yeah, I'm good.
It's too hard to remember mine. It might be creeping up on me.
Sure.
Man, but yeah. So no, I definitely feel that.
Hold on. Somebody's trying to comment. I want to get them the YouTube link because it's not looking like they can right now. It's Gene.
Oh, my man, Gene David.
Yeah.
My man, Mr. Family Man. He's the real person.
You know the crazy part, Gene, I actually saw Gene at Target one day, and I wasn't too sure it was him because I haven't seen Family Man Gene. So I didn't want to just roll up on somebody.
You remember Athletic Gene.
Yeah, I haven't seen Family Man Gene. You know what I mean?
Nah, that's my man's though. That's my dog's though. That's my dog.
Okay. So, I guess just because we're on a dating topic, right? Me and you had a discussion about the Breakfast Club interview yesterday with Dr. Umar, right?
Yeah.
And Dr. Umar, I won't say I agree with everything that he says, but I do listen.
Yeah. And the things he talk about is very insightful. They're good. Like you said, I take what he says sometimes with a grain of salt because he is super extreme.
Yeah, he's OD extreme.
He's extreme.
Oh, I'm sorry for chewing on you guys. I'm hungry. I'm sorry. So I'm gonna play a video for the audience. This is where we're gonna get a couple of you guys to interact with us, but of course we're going to talk about it. And just tell me what you guys think, right? So here we go.
Let me ask you a question, Dr. Umar. Are you totally against interracial relationships?
I am totally against it, and I want to make sure you understand why. It's not because... Cut it out, Envy. Cut it out, Envy.
Don't do that, Envy. I'm going to be having a serious conversation.
We have a name for it. We have a name for it.
Okay.
The Snow Bunny Crisis.
Okay.
I am against the Snow Bunny Crisis. And I want your white listeners to understand. Because people be trying to say stuff like, he's the Black Hitler. I'm not the Black Hitler. I am in no way interested in hurting or harming the life of any human, white, Asian, Chinese. I believe in respecting everybody. The reason I'm against interracial marriage, Charlemagne, is because marriage is an economic contract. It's an economic contract. Most women do not marry down in status. They marry up. And if you don't believe me, show me a rich white woman married to a broke-ass black man. Have you ever seen a rich white woman marry a broke-ass black man? No, you have not, and you never will. Because marriage ain't about love, it's not colorblind, and it is totally economic. So if marriage is an economic unification and a contract, how can we, who don't have enough already, give so much to the white woman and to white people who have already taken too much when we got all these black women out here who will never get married? Only 1 out of every 4 black women in America will ever taste marriage, and half of them who taste marriage will be divorced within 5 years. If you want to save the black family, you have to protect it. And in order to protect it, you have to is interracial marriage. You can't. I love the black family, but I don't have a problem with interracial marriage. Interracial marriage is eliminating the black family because it is not providing our women with enough available and able black men to be their husbands.
So it's not just white. It's not just white women. You just feel white women, Asian,
everybody. Nobody should be marrying out the race because there's political consequences. DJ Envy.
So we're not gonna have no white woman pop up from Philly. Hold on, we not have no white woman.
Get no white woman
pop up from Philly. Talk about. I used to mess.
So, with that being said, what do you think about that?
What do I think about the interview? What do I think about interracial marriage?
Both. You know, what do you think about interracial marriage? What do you think about what he said in that interview? And whatnot?
Well, and I'll start with the interview. Well, the interview he mentions, you know what I mean? I highly agree with the fact that, you know, I mean, marriage is an economical contract, but the idea of pushing, like the way he said that when you marry out, the black man dies, the money goes to the white woman. I highly agree with that. Like, we're losing a lot of black dollars out of the community that way. It's true. It does happen. But I'm not against interracial marriages. You know what I mean? By all means, love who you love, whoever you love. But on that same token, could I have seen myself in an interracial marriage? I've never have. I could have, you know what I mean, dated other races. I could have done all that stuff like that. But when I thought about marriage and who I wanted to spend the rest of my life with, I don't know. I always envisioned a black woman being a black man. I don't know. Yeah. Always. I can't. I'm trying to think of if I ever. I would say I always envisioned a black woman, and I'm married to a black woman now. So it's like, kind of held that true to myself. It's hard. What about you?
So now with this, all right, like I said, Dr. Umar, I respect his opinions, you know, certain things that I do listen to him. And there's other clips that I didn't get to, you know, record and download yet. But when it comes to the whole interracial marriage and all that, to me, I've always been a person, like I used to always say, like, you know, I don't care what color the girl is, because, you know, I'm Captain Kirk. She could be green. As long as she's pretty, I'm with it, right? Mm-hmm. But like you, I don't think I ever really saw myself marrying somebody, black woman.
Yeah.
Now, I respect all women. I love, you know, the appearances, you know, of women. But like when it came down to being married and furthering, you know, having kids and all that stuff, I never envisioned really anything else than a black woman. Now, could you say I was probably brainwashed by my mom? Because I also had that in the back of my head with my mom saying, you better not bring a white woman home.
That was it. Strictly white. It could be Spanish. It could be anything else.
Oh, no. Because a Spanish woman is just a white woman that speaks Spanish.
Oh. I loved it.
I was like, word, mom? But it just, you know, all jokes aside, it was more of just, I just didn't see it. Like, I remember my dad actually making a joke on me and making fun of me in essence, because I had visited him in Texas and he was just like, you know, there's all these girls around. I think it was me, him, and his boy. And his boy was like, yo, there's all these girls around. You should start. And my dad's like, he don't want a Spanish girl. He like black girls. That's all he likes. And in my head, I'm like, what's wrong with that? Like,
Like,
Well,
oh, you just talk down on me, like, for that.
yeah, like ain't nothing wrong with that. Like, I'm sorry. I have a specific type. I like it. I like
I like my
what
type.
I likes. Yeah. So
not to say that, you know what I mean, there could be, you know what I mean, women of every color is attractive, you know what I mean, they do like that stuff. That it's just my personal preference. I just never saw myself really settling with someone who can't relate with me 100%.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, it comes down to relatability, you know what I mean? Just having that different history, that totally different history it kind of changes, you know what I mean, the aspects of everything. But then we have the same thing. Like I married an African American woman. You married completely into your nationality.
Yeah.
You married another Haitian woman. Do you feel like that was consciously? I mean, granted, love is love. You fell in love with your wife, but I'm asking, do you feel like that was consciously, like you felt like more geared towards another Haitian, or the fact that she was black? Haitian didn't have anything to do with it.
Haitian was more of a plus.
Okay.
I guess, because I didn't have to, I guess, quote unquote, deal with the whole different culture aspect of it. But it wasn't something that I was like, oh no, I have to marry a Haitian woman. Like,
there's some Haitian men out there that say that to themselves, though.
Yeah.
That's why I posed the question. That's why I asked. There's definitely some people that say like, oh, it's strictly my nationality or nothing.
Well, and listen, I respect that. Like, I respect anybody who says I'm only marrying a black woman or I'm only marrying a white man if they're white or whatever. I like you said, love is love. Love who you love. I don't care. You know what I mean? It's none of my business on who you want to love.
At the end of the day, yeah.
Now, when he says, marriage is a contract, an economic contract, that I do believe.
Oh yeah. I believe that too.
Like if you think about just before, the whole religious aspect of marriage, like people used to, like, you used to have to pay to get married. Like you had to give a dowry and all that stuff. Like it was a whole, like, wars have been
started and ended because of marriage.
Started and ended because of marriage. Like,
started and ended because of marriage. Yeah,
it's literally a contract. So I get where he's coming from. I just think sometimes he's very extreme.
It's just deep. I'm curious to know what the other listeners think about it, though. I don't know how to really take, but yeah, I agree with him to a certain extent. To me, I love who you love. I'm not against interracial marriages. On a personal, I couldn't do it. I just never saw myself, nor did it even come down to the fact of me even doing it. Because love is love. I fell in love with who I fell in love with.
And then just other points that he makes. He does a lot of things with every time. He does a lot of the biggest point I like is when he talks about the boys in the school and the attack with ADD, ADHD and stuff like that. That's something I do believe is a thing. Not to say that there isn't such thing as ADD or ADHD, but I think where we as a people has been extremely disproportionately diagnosed of it, and it's really because of the school special education complex. Like the more you have people,
they get paid to put you on the list you as that. They get paid more money to list you as needing extra help.
And I just even look back at just my school, the people that were in special ed, right? I've had friends that were in special ed, but it was mostly the black kids. And do I think that these people needed special ed? No, I don't. Like, they were no smarter, no dumber than I was.
Yeah.
But like I said, these are friends of mine, so I know their knowledge of things. Like,
but they benefit labeling them that financially the school benefits. And two, they don't want to do it to they don't want to do it to white kids because it's kind of like that's put on your record. You know what I mean? That's literally on your record. Like, you know what I mean?
And you know
You're
the crazy
diagnosed
part,
with
right?
this type of thing and stuff like that, and that's completely gonna be running with you for the rest of your life. So that's why they don't want to do it to their white boys and girls. They don't mind doing it to you.
And here's the crazy part about it, right? And I'm just now realizing it now, right? When we talk about special ed. Like I said, these are my friends, so they were no dumber nor smarter than I was. But some of them probably were smarter now. But you know, in essence, they didn't need to be in special ed, is what I'm saying, right? Here I am, seeing them in special ed, seeing the advantages of special ed because they got extra time on tests and all that stuff. I'm going, what the hell am I working so hard for? I should go just be in special ed and get all the extra stuff. Like, you see, if it, you know, just only reason why that probably did not happen to me is just the mother that I had.
She wasn't gonna have that.
Yeah, she wasn't tolerating that nonsense.
Yeah, my boy ain't dumb.
Like,
cut it out.
But in the same respect, like, you can see how had I had not had that mother, had those parents, where I go, well, hey, I might need special ed because I don't want to work as hard. How that now plays into the whole narrative or the whole, you know, concept of Black kids being in special ed, because now I'm just trying to hang out. Now I'm just trying to get the extra stuff with my friends.
Trying to get the perks.
Trying to get the perks where there was no white kids there because they were all with their friends.
They still got the perks. Don't worry about it. They still got their perks.
I mean,
they got different perks.
So it's crazy how that goes. And like I said, I'm just now really thinking about that. Like, oh, I actually wanted to be there just because they got perks.
And they'll kind of try to label you forever. Like,
and then you get labeled forever, and that was it. Like, I never seen anytime I saw somebody in special ed, they were in special ed. That was it. They were in it. I never seen somebody come out of special ed.
They They definitely, they're gonna put you in it, and then there's no reevaluation.
That's crazy.
There's no they evaluate you as a child. There's no reevaluation. You have ADHD for the rest of your life. You have this for the rest of your life. They're not trying to reevaluate you and say, you know what, you before you had ADHD, but now you know what I mean, you're pretty good. You got a hold of it. You good. You straight. You know what I mean? This and that. Nah, they'll never reevaluate you. They wouldn't. They rather just label you and call it a day.
Yeah, and you know so now, recent, probably about a year or two ago, Charlie's in Little League, right? And I can see Charlie. Charlie, I know my child. My child's very hyper. He's a ball of energy.
He's a child,
right? He's a child. At the time, he was a 5-year-old child. Like, he's a 6-year-old kid. Like, that's what 6-year-old boys do. They're hyper. They're ball of energy, right? And I can already see the lining, right? That they're going to try and give me this whole, he might have ADHD, blah, blah, blah. And I even think the teacher kind of slipped up and was like, oh, my son's ADHD, and tried to make it better than me. And, you know, kind of looked at her like, yo, you're bugging. Don't even go there.
Yeah, don't try to become relatable so I could
don't even go there, because just because you want to be lazy and not try to teach, right? You just want these kids to behave. Cool. Listen, I'm not taking anything away from teachers. I know they have a big job, especially for younger kids, but you also picked to be a younger kid teacher. Like, I already knew, for me, if I was ever going to be a teacher, it'd have to be high school or college. Like, it'd have to be.
You're not trying to deal with the kids.
I'm not trying to deal with little kids. I'm not doing it. But okay, you decided to do that, right? Now, again, he's in Little League, and then there was this other kid, white guy, with his son that was in Little League, and they came late one time, and I seen him with a shirt, and I'm like, oh, you know, is that a karate dojo? Because I wanted to get Charlie into martial arts also. And then we were just talking, and he was just going on and on about how his older son, right, got diagnosed with ADHD, and they had him on all type of pills or whatever, and like, it just seemed to mellow him out, and then he had no motivation for anything. So his father was just like, you know what? He found this dojo, put him in the dojo. And he was like, since his kid's been in that dojo or whatever, they took him off all the pills. he's now able to focus. He not hypertensive.
Yeah.
And it goes to show, like I said, I believe that there is such a thing called ADD, ADHD. I'm not
Yeah.
knocking the thing, but I think we're diagnosing people way too often and way too
often.
fast.
I feel like it should be diagnosed after you tried other things. Like you said, put them in a different class. It's like sometimes it's just the lack of release, lack of they have too much energy. So they need to do other curricular activities to kind of drain that energy.
And he was like, his kid
it could be
literally
lack of interest. Maybe the teacher is just not interesting. Maybe she's boring. So he's gonna be, as the teacher's talking, I'm here all day. She's boring. Me as a kid, I'm looking over, like, me and my friend, my teacher, when I was in school, in high school, not even as a kid, as a high school, my teachers could have said me and all my friends had ADHD.
Oh yeah,
ain't none of us was listening to them. We was talking nonstop. We was doing all this stuff. So imagine
cracking jokes.
Cracking jokes, doing all that stuff. We making funny noises in the back of the class. Like we could have got labeled all this and that. But it's we wasn't none of that. We was just bored.
Up paper and threw it at somebody's head. Like,
I'm just bored. It's not. I'm not. I don't have no ADD. I'm just bored. And this is what's gonna make this 45 minutes go by much faster.
And I am waiting for it, because especially with all these, the past year where we had Zoom school and all that stuff. Like, that was another interesting thing that he said. Like, they were actually trying to put people in special education during the Zoom schools.
Yeah. Like, how do you know?
What?
How do you know? Like,
because they're not listening during Zoom. So, like, think about it this way: like, they don't listen inside school because they're bored. Now you're on a computer screen.
Where they can have YouTube right next to it. These kids ain't dumb. They know how to open YouTube. They're not watching you. You thinking they're not paying attention. That's because you muted and they're on YouTube. and now you thinking they got ADHD. No, they just wasn't clocking in. It was never clocked in to begin with. So I feel like it has to be, to say someone has those type of mental disabilities or anything, learning disabilities, I feel like they have to try other outlets first before just labeling. Right now, they're just taking a kid 4 or 5 years old, label them. And they just run for the rest of their life labeled. Meanwhile, all they needed was martial arts after school, drain some of the energy so they could something just to drain some energy after school. They go take, do their homework, sleep, wake up, and they don't have that same amount of energy to do whatever they was doing before that you felt like they were acting out, quote unquote. Yeah. But they don't do that with their white boys and girls, bro. They don't. You don't want talking too much, disrupting the class. It's crazy. You could be talking to the white kid, the black kid get in trouble. I went to I went to private school my whole life, so I was never on the majority side of the gender thing. So it's like, and then like I went to a private school, so it's like I've noticed things a lot differently, definitely.
How was that in the private sector?
I feel like because it's so small and it's definitely predominantly white and it's so small, so it's not even just that in the same, like, because you can have a school with thousands of kids. My schools was always hundreds, so it's like you pick up on favoritism a lot faster. You pick up on certain things, certain characteristics a lot faster, like how teachers treat different kids and how teachers react. And it's like, and it kind of hits harder because in a public school, you can end up in a school and it's a public school. Unless you're in a black person growing up in a predominantly white neighborhood, your public school is going to be mixed for the most part, being in New York. But for me, it was just like, it was white with your few black kids. So it's like you notice those single outs like quick. Like you notice that your special help thing was majority black kids. Like we noticed that from the jump that our special S thing is 9 black kids and 1 white person.
When we talk about
Like
I said, sorry.
Single outs like quick.
I just realized how to get Jane David in.
But yeah.
Sorry.
So that's you start noticing things a little bit quicker. I can't really attest to how public schools work because I never was been there. But I feel like in a private school setting, because you know what I mean, I'm with such a small group of niche kids and things like that, you really start picking up on, and you know the kids in the school, it being at the private school, their parents are paying the school. Some of their parents are actually teachers in the school. Some of their parents is this. So it's like you really like, yeah, this ain't meant for me. This is a thing. But you know what I mean? My parents had a goal. My parents had a dream. You know what I mean? They didn't want to put, they wanted the best education for me. And I respect it. I love it. Would I put my kids in private school? Probably public school. But it did help me out. I can't say that it was a waste of their money because I feel like I definitely had a leg up in certain situations going to private school.
Well, I think also just in the school district area that you guys were in, the private sector was the way to go.
Private sector was. I was in Amityville, so we went private to go into Dix Hills, Deer Park area, try to get a better education and stuff like that. But I would say I can't say it was all bad. Can I say it was all bad? Because majority of my friends that went to Amityville, you know what I mean, there's only a percentage of them graduated. So if I was with them, I would have been along which side of that percentage I would have fell in.
Yeah.
If only a percentage of my friends that did go to the public school graduated, I'd have been with them knuckleheaded doing all this. But granted, I had no choice but to go to school and do what I had to do, and then come home and act up with them. You know what I'm saying? Like I was forced to separate that type of life, my fun life and my school life. Like, yo, you're going to school with nobody, none of your friends. You don't know nobody. We're sending you to Bumba to go to school. You don't know nobody over there. So you have no choice. There should be no distractions. And
I mean, they still messed up because they sent you over there and then you met for Des.
I met Des. I met Gene. I met the closest friends I'll ever meet, bro. That's why I can't say it was all bad, bro. I met my best friends in private school. Met my best friends.
So now bringing it back towards, we're gonna close soon.
Yeah.
Bringing it back towards just because I kind of like this topic. I never actually discussed this. Bringing it back towards men, right?
Mm-hmm.
You, like you said, you're married now. You don't have a family yet, but now in that aspect of raising your family, like you said, you're probably going to put your kids in public school. What is it that you're looking for in the area that you raise your kid?
Ooh. Equal representation. So where I choose to live, some people are like, oh, I want to choose the best place to live. They're too worried about the school district, the school stuff. Me, I'm worried about those stuff, but I definitely want my kids to grow up a place where they're actually represented equally. I don't want to just to put them in the best school district, doing stuff. I'm gonna go choose a predominantly white neighborhood and raise my child there. I could do that if I have the money, but I personally wouldn't want to. I would want to raise my child somewhere where they can see other boys and girls that look like them, grow up like them. You know what I mean? They go to school with them, do all this, actually do all these stuff because the concept. Because now we're at an age where everything is so separated. You know what I mean? Everything's online. You know what I mean? Nobody really gets together. Everything's online. Like even video games. They used to make multiplayer video games. Now everything is it's multiplayer, but only one per system. So you got to go home to play with me. We can't sit here and play Nintendo together. You want to play together? Go
really?
home.
Hold on. That's how
Nintendo you can. PlayStation is harder. Nintendo has always been a family thing. But a lot of PlayStation games, Xbox games, they're multiplayer, but only one per system.
Seriously?
You gotta play online together. So I can't come to your crib. You know how we used to go to your house, play Duck Hunt, do all that stuff? Yeah, you could do that with some Nintendo games, but who's playing Nintendo that often? You know what I mean?
It's very hard. You're trying to tell me, like, if I don't what's that game?
You want to go
Call of Duty, right?
You want to play Call of Duty Warzone? You got to go home and we could jump on together on the pod. We could jump together in the party and talk.
So you mean you can't come over now and
we're not playing Warzone together? We're not playing Warzone. If I bring my controller, bro, literally go home, bro. Like there's no way, bro. They really made gaming together so hard. Like it's literally one person per console. The other person gotta go home. Y'all could join together. But y'all gotta join in the party. Y'all could play together, do that stuff. But me bringing my controller to your house, it's not happening, bro. We might as well kick out the Nintendo 64 and just play Super Smash Brothers, bro.
So Gene David finally got on. He said keep him in touch with the culture.
Which culture? Yeah, the black culture. Yeah. That's exactly why I want to raise my kids in a place where they're equally represented. I don't want to raise them in a...
My biggest thing, right? It's because we've been looking at houses and stuff like that. My biggest thing is school district, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing that I'm looking at is school district and affordability, of course. But school district, I want the best bang for my buck. Then comes...
But what are you looking for in the school district? What do you mean best bang for your buck?
Well, best bang for my buck meaning like, the house to land ratio and how much... That's what I meant best bang.
Okay.
But as far as like school district, I wanted a school district where, it'll keep my kid competitive. Because like, not to say school district, you can put your school kid in the hood, right? Let's say Amityville, right?
Yeah. There's some scholars coming out of there.
There's scholars coming out of Amityville. But now it's more of I have to be on top of my child and what the school is doing. And then when your child is applying for colleges, if they so choose to go, colleges do look at, okay,
where you're
he's
coming
coming
from.
Out of Amityville.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know what the curriculum is like, but this person coming out of North Babylon, their curriculum is probably a little stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to take that person. You see what I'm saying? So I don't want to put my kid at a disadvantage because of that.
Mm-hmm. But it's hard to tell yourself what the advantages and disadvantages because you don't even know what they're looking at.
Exactly. But also in the same respect, like I do want to be in a more culturally diverse area. I don't want my kid being in, a predominantly white neighborhood or a predominantly, Asian neighborhood or predominantly Spanish neighborhood. Like I want them to be in a neighborhood where everybody's represented.
Yeah. If I say it's just equal representation. I'm not trying to say predominantly black. I just want equal, like just as much white, black, Spanish, whatever. I don't care if there's such a place.
And then like I grew up.
Let's say that.
I went to Half Hollow Hills. We all know this right now, right? I remember leaving my elementary school, right? And it felt really awkward. Now they rezoned it now, but when I was there, when I was leaving my elementary school, it literally was, my elementary school was split into two. We went to two different middle schools. There was West Hollow Middle School and there was Candlewood. Literally, I kid you not. Out of my fifth grade class, all of the black kids, besides I think maybe one, went to West Hollow, and the other kids went to Candlewood. And at that time, everybody was saying like Candlewood was the better school or whatever. So they were like the black kids went to West Hollow because it was the worst of the schools or whatever, right? That's the way they zoned it. And it was weird because it was like we went to go visit the schools, and then like I had to leave my best friends and all that stuff because they were all going to Candlewood. And here I am with all the black kids. It was literally like 8 of us at that time. And we were going to West Hollow. I'm like, damn, son. And then we get into West Hollow, and it was so dreary because we visited Candlewood before, and like you walked into Candlewood, it was all bright and stuff, and then you got to West Hollow, it was all dark and whatnot. I was like, yo, this is a prison.
Where does sun go?
This is how it was. And then when I finally got there, of course, now we're getting kids from all the other elementary schools and stuff like that. And I'm not gonna sit there. Before that time, I did not have an identity as a black person. I just knew I was black, but I hung out with everybody. But once I got to West Hollow, and now I'm with more black people, and you start to recognize your identity as a black person, whatever. West Hollow was lit. Yeah. It was lit. It was the better of the two schools. He was like, what?
I feel a little bit more at home over here.
Yo, listen. Listen. Because of who I was hanging out with, you wanted to go to Candlewood. Like that was it. Like everybody was going there. And then when I got to West Hollow, I'm like, yo, I would have been bored at Candlewood. Like this is so much more fun. Like, West Hollow was lit.
You got
That's just
you
what
got
it
someone
was.
over here agreeing with you. HIP.
You know who that is. That's Nelly Nels. He knows. He know the deal. He knows the deal.
It was popping. West Hollow was that spot.
Yo. And then from there you went to Hills East, like you knew. But the one thing I didn't want to always go, that was another thing that made it okay to go to West Hollow, was because I wanted to go to Hills East. And I only wanted to go to Hills East because Island's older brother Woodsy went to Hills East. That was where he went. So I was like, oh no, I gotta follow my cousin that goes to Hills East. But
you ended up making your whole name in that school. You making your own name at that school.
Listen, man. It was the better of the two choices. I will never, ever say Candlewood or High School West was better. Yeah. Trash schools. Trash. Yeah. Right? Trash.
It turned out all right? That equal representation turned out all right.
And then you know what the crazy part is? Here's the... And you know, some people gonna feel some type of way, i.e., your sister-in-law. But you know, the hood boogers went to High School West. So if you was a person from the hood, you went to West. You know, the bad apples went there. So
like, yo, they tried to trick us when we was in middle school. They tried to switch the switcheroo on us in middle school.
If you was about academics, you went to East. All right, that's just how it was.
But yeah, that's the but oh, I was gonna mention. I want to bring up. You saw the Dr. Umar Johnson thing. Later on in that same conversation, he was talking about what's her name? The tennis player, Osaka.
Yes.
Remember Osaka?
Oh yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Yeah, I mean, I know it's your turn. You're supposed to be asking the questions, but I want to ask you a question on this, bro. I wanted to know what are your feelings about her representing Japan in the Olympics? All
right. So, in all honesty, her representing Japan is an economically smart thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like I understand because like they were saying, she identifies as a Black woman. Yes, she's Japanese. Yes, she's Haitian, but she identifies as a Black woman. She dates Black. Like she supports Black. She, you know, she uses her money for Black causes, stuff like that. She built school in Haiti. Mm-hmm. Like she identifies as a Black man, but it's just economically smart to represent Japan. Like Haiti doesn't have the funding for her to represent Haiti in the Olympics.
But do you need the funding at this point? Is it necessarily?
I mean, now she could
have been the first. I don't know if the first, but she could have literally.
I think the first. Yeah,
she would have been the first. She would have been the first representative for
that would have probably
Haiti
won
in tennis.
That would have won.
That would have and most likely would have won. Yeah. That would have been huge. Would you rather bring that gold to Japan?
I know.
And not even to say that she had to choose Haiti and Japan. You've been in America since you was 3. You couldn't represent America. Like why choose? Why was Japan?
But again,
I get what you're saying. It was economic.
It's the economics of it. Like because think about it this way: before she beat Serena, right? Mm-hmm. She didn't have an idea that she could beat Serena until it was done. Like she probably said it all her life, I want to beat Serena, but it wasn't physically done until it was done.
It was a dream until it happened.
You know what I'm saying? So in essence, for her to be playing for US, like you would have to go up against that juggernaut first, right? Like they're gonna pick Serena over you, where there's no real Japanese tennis players. Yeah. So you can still get the same amount of, I guess, quote unquote funding before she was famous or whatever, playing and representing Japan throughout all these, opens, right? That's what they call tennis matches, Wimbledon, Australian Open, all this stuff, right? So it would make more economical sense. I'm sure, like she said, she grew up in a Haitian household. Like she grew up, hearing Creole from her grandmother and stuff like that. Yeah. She's a Haitian woman. So I'm sure if the funding and the country
Yeah.
was together, and I hate talking about Haiti right now because they irritate me so much.
Yeah. I get you.
You know, but like, had the funding and stuff been there for her to be in hate,
You feel like she would have made that
representing it,
decision?
I think she would have. I think she would have. You know, she won the U.S. Open and went straight to Haiti. Like,
True. My thing is, yeah. But I feel like the
she didn't
world
go
in
to
itself,
Japan. She
I feel
went
like the
straight
world,
to
I
Haiti.
feel like the world itself would have been so against. Because even when like you look her up and stuff, like say you Google her, right? You Google her, her Wikipedia does not mention the fact that she's black or Haitian, for the most part. It calls she's titled a professional Japanese tennis player.
Mm-hmm.
And if you Google her father, he is worldly known as the father of the Japanese tennis player. They don't even want to acknowledge that he really is the father. They say he's known as the father.
Mm-hmm. It's wild. It's wild. And because at first, before I even found out about her story, and people were saying that she was Haitian, like you said, I Googled it.
Yeah, you want to Google it.
And like you said,
like,
it's worldly known, whatever, this, that, third. And it's after she won that Open, after she beat Serena and whatnot. That's when she's saying all this stuff. Like, yeah, I grew up with my thing. Like my dad taught me tennis. I grew up with. I'm like, hold up. They were making it seem like this nigga just was the sperm donor.
A sperm donor. That's literally how he's written in paper or across the internet. He's written basically as a sperm donor. She's a Japanese player with this guy being known as her father.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's probably gonna be a conversation for another time, brother.
Yeah. That's definitely a conversation. But I just wanted to get your take on how you felt about her playing in Japan. And you say you feel like she definitely was. It was definitely an economical decision that she made.
Yeah, it was, and I think because of it, I hope, I can't even say I hope next Olympic or next go around, because you can change countries, whatever.
Yeah.
Next
Hopefully she'll try it again. You know what I mean? Represent the other side. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see in 4 years.
Brother, I appreciate it. I thank you for coming on. Definitely, anytime you want to come on, shoot me a text or whatever. And like you said, we're actually going to get up because we try to make this a little better.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Shoot the ideas.
Yeah, I got a lot of ideas for you, and you can do a lot of things, bro.
All right, I appreciate it. Everybody here that's on, thank you for signing on. Of course, if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for the notifications. I always forget to say that one, the bell for the notifications. But come every Tuesday, 8:00, man. Drin Talk Tuesdays.
My pleasure.
And with that, this is Drin Talks.